Hey friends, welcome back. Today we are tackling cherries in the kitchen. We are going to be preserving cherries by canning them, freezing them, and dehydrating them. First, we decided we were going to pit all these cherries. I have 32 pounds of cherries to pit, minus a few bags because they're really tasty, so we started to eat them. But Hannah has decided that she is going to head up this project of pitting all of these cherries. We got this really cute little cherry pitter and it does 7 at a time, and she really enjoyed it, so I let her tackle this project. Of course, Mom's support came in, and I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. The straw trick where you push the straw through the cherry and it pushes the pit out the back. It's a little tedious. It's very messy. You'll be covered in juice and there will be juice everywhere. But surprisingly, I could get quite a few done. As she was loading her little cherry pitter, I could put out just as many. So with a little bit of teamwork, we got it done. I wanted to share with you guys my favorite part in doing all of this. I thought I was going to sit down and watch a movie on my iPad while I pitted all these cherries, and it turned into some really great quality time with Hannah. We sat down and we pitted cherries for well over an hour, and we got to talk and share things. We talked about school, we talked about birthdays that are coming up and Christmas and all the good things that we could make with the cherries, because of course while we're pitting these cherries we're also eating them. And each of us would smile every time we would put a cherry in our mouth because they really were tasty. But I so enjoyed this time to not only share with her how to preserve food, but we got to share each other in this. We got to make a memory together. So once we had all these cherries pitted, we filled up as many jars as we could. I got my little canning station set up, and I'm canning these in a really simple syrup. I'm using a raw organic cane sugar, so the syrup has a little brown color to it. It's not clear. If I had used white sugar, it would have been clear, but that's okay. It doesn't affect the cherries, doesn't affect the taste or anything. And that's all I'm putting in these cherries is this simple syrup. And I'm filling it up to a 1/2 inch headspace. And we're going to can these. These are pints, so we are canning these for, I think it was 20 minutes. And this was a relatively quick process. I had to do 2 batches, and I only had 1 out of all these jars not seal, and I'm pretty sure it's because the rim was dirty. It got sticky. This is a very messy process, so you definitely want to make sure you are debubbling and then wiping your rims off, because using this simple syrup, it's sticky, and if it gets on the rim of the jar, your lid will not seal. So I only had 1 not seal, so we're going to call this canning a success. And it was a pretty simple process. They went in and came out pretty fast. Also, while I am in here canning, I have things going on in the background. So Hannah, of course, is in the other room still pitting cherries. And we're also going to make some, we're going to call it adult candy. I have already dehydrated some cherries, and I am going to take these dehydrated cherries. This was my first time dehydrating cherries. These are a little overdone, so I decided I'm going to take these and I'm going to rehydrate them in a cherry flavored whiskey. Now you can use really any alcohol you want, and if you don't want to use alcohol, you can use any kind of juice that you want. And it absorbs that flavor from the juice or the alcohol, and it's, it's an enjoyable little treat. Just make sure that your cherries are completely covered, there's none floating at the top, and then pop it in the fridge and let it sit. Okay, these are my cherries I'm going to freeze. I have these on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper on there so they don't stick to the cookie sheet, and we're going to freeze these whole. These are going to go in the freezer overnight. Once I got that done, it was on to the next process, which was cutting the rest of the cherries in half and placing them on the racks to go in the dehydrator. These I run in 2 sessions. So you want to do these between like 130, 145, depends on your dehydrator, for at least 24 hours. So I do a 12-hour session and then flip them, because I think these are all face up. So I'll flip them and then run them another 12 hours. And that seems to be the perfect time to get that consistency. They're dried, but they're still plump. So it's like a nice juicy dried cranberry. They're just wonderful. Oh, I so recommend dehydrating cherries. We will be doing this every year now. If you don't have a dehydrator, I will link this one in the description down below. I got this off of Amazon. I feel that it was relatively affordable. It's not one of those huge, big, fancy ones, but it has enough trays in it to get the job done. Now, it's the next day because this does take 24 hours. And once I have these done, I like to store them in glass jars. I would not recommend putting them in plastic containers or a plastic bag. Use a glass jar. I'm using or reusing a leftover strawberry jam jar. Look how big they are. It really is like a big giant raisin. They're wonderful. After that, I went ahead and pulled out my frozen cherries, and I flash freeze them on a cookie sheet so they don't stick together. And this makes it easy for me to grab what I need for a recipe or just grab them for a quick snack. Frozen fruit, I think, is probably one of my favorite snacks. So I'm stealing one. And I love that, you can throw them in a bag. They store relatively easy in the freezer. Anybody can get what they want, but they're loose. You don't have that big clump of frozen fruit that's all stuck together, and it makes it quick and easy to grab for smoothies or to throw on top of yogurt. So this is my favorite way to preserve fruit. I do prefer to freeze it, but it's always good to have something shelf stable as well. So canning these as well, you kind of have your 2 for 1. You've got the ones that are shelf stable in case the electricity goes out and you're not worrying about everything falling in the deep freeze. Also, make sure you're putting a label on these. Date and label everything. So guys, thank you for joining me on my preserving journey today, and I bless you on your preserving journeys as well.